Open G Hub and select your keyboard. I'm going to demonstrate how to set up WoW lights to make playing Warcraft more fun with a Logitech RGB keyboard and G Hub software. Open a profile for WoW in G Hub, either the one you already have, or create a new one for WoW lights like I have here. Change the preset effect to Screen Sampler. G Hub will create 5 sampling zones. We need to change those, so click on Edit. Then, for each of the 5 blue boxes, click on the pencil icon. This will let you change the name of each zone. Name the first one WL11. Name the next one WL12. And continue across with WL13, WL14, and WL15. These special names tell WoW Light's helper script which profile to change. Close the G Hub window. Before changing the profile by editing the G Hub preferences, we need to shut down G Hub. In the System tray, right-click on the G Hub icon and then, from the pop-up menu, click on Quit. You'll probably see your keyboard lights change. Then, we need to stop the G Hub background process too. In the search bar, start typing Task Manager and click it on the list. In Task Manager, type LG to find LG Hub Agent in the list. Right-click on LG Hub Agent and from the pop-up menu, choose End Task. This will ensure the G Hub preferences can be easily edited. That editing will be done with Python. Let's find out if you have it. In the System bar, type PowerShell and hit Enter to start it up. Type Python at the command line. If you do not already have Python installed, Windows will open the Microsoft Store so you can install it with one click on the Get button. So, if you see this window, you need Python. Get it. It's free. When it's done, close the store. Now type Python again, and you should see the version number like this. Of course, if you already had Python installed, then you saw this text right away. If your version is older than 3.12, consider upgrading before continuing. Expand the WoW Lights zip file into a folder like this. If PowerShell is closed, open it again. Use the cd command to change directories in PowerShell to the WoW Lights folder. I'm copying and pasting the path name in here. A directory listing with dir will prove you're in the right place. Now type Python, hit space, a period, backslash, and the name of the WoW Lights Python script. You can type part of the name and press Tab to autocomplete. Press Enter. You'll see 6 steps on the screen. We've already done all 6 of these by creating a profile, renaming the sampling regions, and shutting down G Hub. Since you've done all that, you can type Y and press Enter. To size the sampling zones, the script needs to know the resolution of your monitor. G Hub screen sampling only works with your main screen. If the screen width is correct, you can just press Enter, or type the correct screen width. You'll see the same question about screen height. If the number is correct, just press Enter. The script will run, expanding those 5 sampling zones you created into 18 sampling zones, and then packs them tightly in the lower left corner of the screen. That's where the WoW Lights add-on will show the colors for your lights. Type Exit to close PowerShell. Okay, you're almost there for flashy lights in WoW. Reopen G Hub and also open the WoW Lights PDF included in the zip file. There's a keyboard map on this sheet that you'll want to look at. The map shows the recommended way to bind your keyboard lights to each of the 18 sampling zones. Open your keyboard in G Hub and switch to the profile for WoW Lights. You should see that yes, there are 18 zones now. You need to pick those one at a time and then drag over the matching keys as shown in the map. WL11 is the top 2 rows and first 4 keys. WL12 is the 4 keys next to that. Continue selecting each of the sampler zones in the list and then the matching keys, all the way down to WL36. Now, you're ready to play WoW with WoW Lights. If you've properly installed WoW Lights, you should be able to open the add-on by typing /WoW Lights into the WoW interface. That will open this window for setting WoW lights. The first time, and one time you run this, you're going to have to do a final calibration of the pattern on the screen to the screen scanner that G Hub is using. You'll see that this light pattern is repeated down here in the very corner of the screen, which is where the G Hub software is actually looking for the colors to put on the lights. Currently, we don't have a good alignment between them with the default of a 3.35 frame size, so we're going to have to adjust this number to get it set correctly. We want to start by pressing the Calibrate Colors button, which will change to a test pattern on this screen and appearing down here that we can use to properly scale the lights. Now, the frame size dialog will change the size of the lights at the bottom. So if we change this to a 5 and hit enter, you can see it's gotten bigger. If we do a smaller size like 2, you'll see it's gotten smaller. So what we need to do is make sure that the size of this pattern in the add-on matches the size that G Hub is using. The default of 3.3 that we had before, we can look at this test pattern and we hope to see this same alternating pattern of lights in 3 rows down on the keys. And we can see that we're close having the red, but then it's supposed to be followed by black before we have green. Instead, we see there's kind of this orange color and then green, and green goes continuously all over here to the purple. The purple's supposed to be in row 2, and we're seeing purple all the way up here in row 1. So we don't have the scaling quite right. So let's try a larger scaling factor, let's say 4, and we can see, well, that's even further off because now this bottom red is taking over this whole section of the keyboard, and this orange box is taking over these 2 whole rows. So making it bigger is the wrong direction. Let's try a smaller direction like 2. All right, it's gotten smaller, but now if we look at 2, and especially if we move the camera around, you can see how the lights are changing color over here. That's because we are oversampling this region. There's scanner pixels in G Hub that are looking at what's going on here and trying to put that on our keyboard lights, which looks interesting but isn't what we want. So we know the pattern needs to be larger than 2. So let's go back to that 3 that we started with. We can see that it's still not, that wasn't quite right. So let's go a little bit smaller. Let's try 2.5. And 2.5, okay, now things are looking better. We can now see this light blue over here in the corner, but the transition here from the red, black, green is not quite tight. So let's go a little bit smaller. Let's try 2.4, and that made even more green show up over here. So that's going the wrong direction. So let's try 2.6. Okay, now this is looking pretty good. We can now clearly see red, orange, green, purple, red, orange, green, purple, blue, and the light blue. So we're close to good calibration. Maybe we can get it even better. Let's try 2.7. Okay, and now you can see what happened. These all went dark, which should be the case. Between the green and the blue, it should be a black. And so that's what we've achieved. So this is probably the right answer. Let's try one more at 2.8. And we can see that now we've gone too far because the red is now bleeding over here and the green is bleeding over there. So 2.7 seems to be the right number for us. Now that you figured out that calibration, you're set. You don't have to touch this again. Click OK to save that, and then recommend you type /reload so that the add-on will then be fresh. It'll have the correct size, and now it's gone back to the default color scheme I had for this character. So let's talk about changing those color schemes. If I go WoW Lights again, see my top row is orange. Let's say I wanted that to be red. I can change the whole row by clicking this button here. It'll open the WoW color picker, which I can adjust to another color and intensity that I want to use. You can see it's changing. Not only when it's changing on the color wheel, it's also changing on the keyboard live at the same time. So I can dial in this red to be exactly what I'd like it to be, and then click OK, and I've done that. But let's say I just want to change one of the colors. Like these arrows are blue, I want to make them green. Click on the one color, and we can go down and make that green. If I don't change my mind, I can cancel back to the blue or say, no, I do want it to be green. This color scheme that I've now set up, picking whatever color I want for the rows or individual sections, will be on whenever I play WoW. But if I want to set a different color scheme for each one of my characters, that's where the Memorize button comes in. So I have my character here and the specialization for that character. When I click memorize, whenever this character logs in and switches to this spec, this is the color scheme that be on. Now on one of my other characters, you can see I have a different color scheme set up, rows in specific areas for that character for this spec. If I change specifications on this character, since I've memorized this other specialization, you can see as soon as I change specs, the key lights change to match that new specialization.